Greetings, Sender Rope TV. This is Kurt, the host, and I'm going to be talking right now about chemtrails. This is something that for a long time I've been unwilling to really deal with. At least there's all these other issues that I've been researching and looking into and trying to wrap my mind around, you know. And the chemtrail one is just, I didn't want to deal with that. But I've been an aviation buff all my life. Been looking at the sky. Wow, look at that cool airplane. I'm going to air shows. Just really enjoyed avionics and aircraft for a long time. So I wanted to really look into and explore the idea of chemtrails. And for those of you naysayers out there, I'd love for you to prove me wrong. You know what? I'm open-minded. I'm not above the belief that I could possibly be wrong. I don't think I am. But I want to really keep an open mind. I think I'm an amateur scientist. I like to learn and discover and run a hypothesis and whatnot. So anyway, I'm pulling information from this little form here, and I'm going to post all the links to all this stuff. But this is the EPA's Aircraft Contrails Fact Sheet. Those of us that believe in chemtrails don't really remember seeing them, and I've been looking at the sky my whole life, till around 1995, 1998, somewhere in there. And so it's very interesting when we see what's going on, that the fact that the EPA comes out with this report in September of 2000. They were probably getting a bunch of calls with all these people going, what the hell's going on up in that sky? Those airplanes, they spraying some stuff. They couldn't figure it out. And we got to put a report out about that. And so I've got some interesting stuff in this report. This fact sheet describes the formation, occurrence, and effects of condensation trails, or contrails. What are contrails? Contrails have been a normal effect of jet aviation since its earliest days. True. So there's some truth mixed in with the lies in here, and I'll get to the lies as we go. But so that's true. We've seen contrails, the little trail that follows behind the jet and goes away. Depending on the temperature and the amount of moisture in the air at the aircraft altitude, contrails evaporate quickly if the humidity is low, or persist and grow if the humidity is high. Okay, well, let's say that that's true. Can you explain why over deserts where there's almost no humidity at all, these contrails persist and they grow and they turn into clouds? You look at much of California is a dry, arid, it's not humid, and yet these contrails are all over. LA is a good example. So, how are aircraft emissions linked to contrail formation? Aircraft engines emit water vapor, carbon dioxide, small amounts of nitrogen oxides, hydrocarbons, carbon monoxide, sulfur gases, and soot and metal particles. Really, what metal particles would a jet engine be emitting? Doesn't make sense. Unless it's falling apart, and then we wouldn't get very far on our airplanes, would we? No. Formed by the high temperature combustion of jet fuel during flight. Of these emittents, only water vapor is necessary for contrail formation. Persistent contrails can last for hours while growing to several kilometers in width and 200 to 400 meters in height. Contrails spread because of air turbulence created by the passage of aircraft, differences in wind speed along with the flight track, and possibly through effects of solar heating. Really? Because that doesn't sound... I've got an interesting picture here, and this looks just like a YouTube video I saw. Why are persistent contrails of interest to some scholars? Persistent contrails often evolve and spread into extensive cirrus cloud cover that is indistinguishable from naturally occurring cloudiness. Really, I want to show you a picture. Here's a picture from my neighborhood. Indistinguishable, huh? It looks a whole lot different than what I think a natural cloud would look like. At present, it is unknown how much of this more extensive cloudiness would have occurred without the passage of an aircraft. Not enough is known about how natural clouds form in the atmosphere to answer this question. That is a load of crap. We know a ton about what forms clouds. That's just an outright lie. Not enough? Golly gee, we just don't know what forms those crazy white puffy things in the sky. We've only had, 10,000 years of scientists trying to figure that out with modern day technology. We just can't get it. Ooh, gee. I'm going to show you. Here's one. Here's a billboard. I believe this billboard was in LA. I mean, they're just throwing it right in our face. I want you to tell me, you'd show me a movie. Show me a movie that was filmed before 1995 that has persistent contrails in the sky. Show me one. I really want you to find it. Show me. They've got a report, which a lot of this information came from, and it's right here. Scientific assessment of global atmospheric effects of aviation. And in this it says it does not address the effects of engine emissions on local air quality near the surface or potential human health effects of engine emissions. So what they're saying is we don't really know what the effects of these are, but then in their own document here, are persistent contrails harmful to the public? Persistent contrails pose no direct threat to public health. How can you know that? I mean, seriously, your own report that you guys pulled a lot of this information from says you didn't even study it. So, but it's fine. Don't worry about it. Just keep on buying crap at Walmart and everything's fine. The ice particles in contrails do not reach the Earth's surface because they fall slowly, and conditions in the lower atmosphere cause ice particles to evaporate. Okay, but you just said that in your report that you didn't address the surface issues. So how can you know if that's the case or not? I mean, that's a lie. They lied in this report. Currently, there are no regulations addressing contrails and their atmospheric effects. Surprise, surprise. So it's an interesting read full of lies and distortions and untruths. So my question is, when the government is lying to you, are they doing it for your benefit? And the answer is probably no. Take a look at this picture. This is a jet actually taken really close up by another jet. That's a contrail. Why is it coming off the wings like that? See, because my personal belief is that it's not modified jet fuel, because that would be easy to test. We could get our hands on some of this stuff, and also that wouldn't explain why it seems to turn on in a populated area and turn off right as it leaves the populated area. Look at these pictures on a cloudy day, and you can see these chemtrails mixed in with the clouds. Now, the argument is that there's lots of humidity in the air and that would cause this. Okay, well, if that's the argument, explain why it doesn't matter that 365 days a year I see these things. Doesn't matter what the humidity is, doesn't matter what the temperature is, doesn't matter what the dew point is. At multiple altitudes, all different altitudes, airways, federal airways or not airways, you see these. Nobody can explain this. How are we going to prove this? Well, what we need is, if you've got a camera that does time-lapse video, I would love to somehow do a video with all of the footage from all of you out there. So if you've got a camera that has time-lapse video capability, most of them don't. If you've got a VX2000, if you've got one of those, it has time-lapse video on it. You can set it to take a frame every 2 minutes, every 5 minutes, whatever. Set it up and point it in your sky where there's always chemtrails and turn it on. And you'll be able to watch, and it'd be nice if you could get a really wide shot of where it starts and stops. So we could see the jet fly in, lay down the trail, and then fly out. And we could see what the sky turns into, this big cloudy stuff. Because I want to have something that we can take to our politicians and say, watch this and tell me that nothing's going on. And if you could also find a way, I believe, I'll put up a link to FlightAware. It's a site that lets you track air activity over your regional airport. So you can actually see the altitudes the jets are flying, the speed at which they're flying, all kinds of great information. You can then take that and combine that with weather information at those various altitudes, and I'm still working on finding that out. If you know where to get that information, please tell me. But I'm working on that. So if you can do that, that would be great, because what we could do is then scientifically say it is impossible for these to be contrails, because contrails cannot form under these conditions. This doesn't make sense. So, and if you're one of these people that can prove it wrong, prove me wrong, please, by all means, prove me wrong.